So today we are talking about the new Quiet Carry Drift Large that they recently dropped, and I also want to talk about why I think that they are one of, if not the best knife company in 2023. Let's get it. So first, let's check out the new Quiet Carry Drift Large. I do have a couple other models we will compare it to here in 1 second that are from Quiet Carry as well. Now, right off the bat, this is absolutely my style of knife. I freaking love this thing. And it's just the little fine details. And the little fine details are what's important, especially to knife guys and to people spending, you know, decent money on a good quality knife. One, Van X steel. Van X steel is one of the most, if not the most, corrosion resistant steels you can get with the highest amount of edge retention that you could possibly have, which is amazing. So it's an absolute super steel that still has, or that does have, the highest amount of, you know, corrosion resistance. And for that reason, it is one of the best knife steels you can get on a knife. Hands down, one of the best. It's definitely in my top 5. Now, the blade geometry is mega thin. This thing was like 86 thousandths or 86 thousandths spine thickness, and it's like slightly crowned. That is very thin. And then look at how broad this blade is. Now, this thing could be 25 thousandths behind the edge, and it's still gonna slice good because of the spine. However, it's only 16 thousandths behind the edge. So, man, talk about cutting performance. And then because of that geometry and everything, as you sharpen it, it's not going to get super thick. They did a decent job with the plunge grind. You know, it's not too close to the edge. Yeah, it's getting close there. If it was any closer, I'd complain about it, but you have a couple sharpenings, if not about 3 or 4 sharpenings before you start hitting the plunge. You know, if you start lowering back your edge angle really far, yeah, it's only a couple, but at least you have something. At least it's not going to get a smile the second you sharpen it, which I can always appreciate. The next thing, you know, I am an absolute titanium whore, hard WH. Now, I'm even a bigger whore if it's micro milled titanium. And they do some of the best micro milling. Oh my goodness, it feels like almost like a file. I love it. I absolutely love this. It offers this amazing texturing in the hand. You know, because it is titanium and it's smooth on this side. And since it's so smooth, you know, this offers a grippiness to it that's really nice in the hand. Now, since this side is nice and smooth, this clip goes in and out of the pocket so smoothly. And then look at that. We got the lock bar cut out on the inside, exactly where it should be. Beautiful T8 hardware all the way around. And, you know, the little chamfers around the edge, just to all the little fine details. This thing, man, they knocked it out of the park. Now, the action is stupid smooth. This thing is on phosphor bronze washers. Now, I know it's on phosphor bronze washers, but it is very close to the feeling of bearings. Now, don't get me wrong, bearings are quite a bit smoother, as you can see right here. And they do a heck of a job with knives on bearings. We'll talk about that one here in 1 second. But this is very smooth, great access to the lock bar, nice comfortable disengagement, very smooth, just a couple shakes and a drop shut. You know, this whole knife is so thin. It is just a little bit over a 1/4 inch. I think it was 3.6 of an inch, so basically like 3/8 of an inch. It's just a little bit over a 1/4 inch, which is super slim. So in the pocket, you know, like you're not even gonna see this bulging out or anything. It's so slim, but yet it's broad enough that when your hands are wrapped around it, you know, it's very comfortable. It makes for you to be able to bear down, or, you know, you just basically do anything EDC related comfortably. Now, this being the full size one, it's a 3.5 inch, and basically they just took the knife and they made it longer and a little wider from the original version, but it's still just as slim. I love that. That's amazing. So yeah, all in all, right off the bat, I can tell you, I freaking love this knife. I think they just did such an amazing job. It was already a popular knife design. I think in 2019, it got EDC Knife of the Year or something like that. Anyways, also another thing I really love, they're made in Taiwan. They're made in Taiwan, which, you know, I think that's awesome. I love knives made from Taiwan. Now, and also another thing is that I've noticed that a lot of the Taiwan companies do a pretty good job with their heat treatment. Now, you know, as far as Vanax goes, one thing, you know, I'll bring in these models while I'm talking about it. Vanax, from my experience, and I can't prove that this is true or not. So I just, you know, want to be clear. I can't prove this, but I think the Vanax might have a little bit higher probability of burning as far as when sharpening on a belt. I have noticed that a lot of knives in Vanax that have came in for sharpening, or that I have sharpened myself from my own collection or whatever, in many cases the factory edge doesn't last as long as it could probably. Now, most likely it's because the steel is burnt at the edge, which, you know, just means you just have to sharpen it. You know, sharpen it a couple times and then you'll get a lot of edge retention. Now, it could be another thing, just that, you know, it's being sharpened on a belt, which a belt sharpened edge will never last as long as a stone sharpened edge. So, you know, it could be that. But anyways, my point is just that, you know, if you do get some Vanax and you notice the factory edge doesn't last like as long as you would think it would, it just has to be sharpened, and then, you know, usually that great edge retention will come out. Now, as far as these models, I think that this is just a great reflection of what Quiet Carry is doing. You can see these are all great looking EDC knives. The Quiet Carry 9 is one of my all-time favorite knives of 2023. It is one of my favorite knives in my collection. I just think that everything they did on this thing, it just knocked it out of the park. You can watch my full review or my full first impressions on this, even down to the clip. This is my favorite clip on any knife. Absolutely my favorite clip. It is so smooth in and out of the pocket, and it hangs on perfectly well without any threat, not even a little bit of a threat of tearing your pockets. This disengagement is one of the most comfortable disengagements I've ever felt on a knife. Very, very smooth, super crisp, great detent for thumb stud action. And also you can get these with the micro milling like this, which I've almost got another one just because I love this one so much. This is my Waypoint. This was one I did have trouble with in the beginning when I first got it, but you know, I did wind up tuning it myself, which I know that they would recommend you just send it into their factory, let them do it. But I did it myself, and hey, it is tip-top now and has not given me any issues since then. Rock solid lockup. And, you know, if you guys know that story, you guys already know it. But, you know, if not, you can go back and watch the videos. But anyways, as far as now goes, this thing is absolutely running perfectly. I've carried it a ton. I've sharpened it a bunch. And it's an absolute knife that I love in my collection. Now, the Drift LC is an LC200N, so which has basically the same corrosion resistance as the Vanax. But this is, you know, it just doesn't have as much edge retention. But this one does have a hole deployment and G10 on, oops, that was my fault, G10 on the show side, but is very grippy G10. Then they have this beautiful micro milled pattern on the spine. Why do I think that they are one of, if not the best knife company in 2023? Well, one thing is that I think that they are knife guy knives. And what I mean by that is that knife guys look and see the little details. They really pay attention to those little details, because those little details is what makes a great knife stand out of the crowd from good knives. And when you have the little details completely checked off all the way around the board, man, that knife really stands out of the crowd. And Quiet Carry is a knife company that is absolutely knocking all the little details out of the park that knife guys are going to know about, the knife guys are going to pay attention to, the knife guys will see from a mile away. And I got to say, if I could think of any knife company that I would want to do a knife design with, hands down, Quiet Carry is top of the list. Absolutely top of the list. They already do so many of the very things, and like just the way their designs are already done And, you know, the little details, I know it would be a great collab. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, I know that this is a company that could actually do exactly what I would want in a knife perfectly. And man, I'd love to see that. I think that would be an absolute masterpiece. My design with their, you know, overall build and build quality and the little details, man, because I pay attention to the little details and they do a really good job at executing it. Now, some of the other things, you know, like blade geometry and stuff, right? So knife guys love good blade geometry, and good blade geometry doesn't have to be like that it's stupid thin. What it means though is that over time it's going to last. So as you sharpen it, it's not going to get thick as a brick. It's going to continue being a great cutting knife. It's not going to look abnormal or anything like that. And that's the way their knives are. Their knives are built to be sharpened. You could sharpen this multiple times and it not look outrageous, you know, or be outrageously thick to where you can't even cut with it anymore. You know, down to the thinness and slimness of their handles. You know, even their thick handles that are like the most comfortable knives that they have that are going to be for a little bit harder use are not obnoxious. They are the perfect large size. The perfect large size to carry in your pocket and have a great knife on you while also being super comfortable and being able to bear down on. And then their EDC friendly knives are so slim, you don't even know they're in your pocket. But when you pull it out, they're broad enough to where it's very comfortable in the hand. And then the little chamfers around all the edges, the way they do the lock bar cutout on the inside, the way it's supposed to be, so it doesn't affect the clip. You know, the disengagement, I think Quiet Carry has done the most comfortable and best lock bar access and disengagements that I've found on a company. You know, from the Quiet Carry 9 and the Drift, they are just a perfectly well executed lock bar cutout, you know, for the disengagement, which in my opinion, that's a huge factor, because you could have the best knife in the world, and if it's uncomfortable for me to disengage or it's difficult for me to get to that lock bar, I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. And then again, the clips. Their clips are so damn good. Like, they're clips that are made not to tear up your pockets and made to just be just super smooth in and out of the pocket without ever affecting. And I got expensive jeans. You know, these jeans that I wear, they are thicker than most jeans. And if you're interested in wanting to know what they are, they're the perfect jean. That's what they're called, the perfect jeans. And they happen to be a bit thicker as far as the material goes. So the seam of your pocket is thicker. So a lot of knives, man, their clips absolutely fail going in my pocket, but Quiet Carries always passes every single time. You know, and then, you know, down to, you know, even just the way they do their titanium. I love the look of tools and like just the machining and the machine quality, and they do a great job at really. You can just look at it and see the machinery, like the quality in the machining. You can totally just see all these little details where you can see, man, this thing is very, very well done. And you know, and it takes somebody who really, you know, cares about those, you know, cares about the machining and things like that, and cares about, you know, how flush something is to, you know, to how much of a gap is all the way around the edge, how much clearance there is, you know, all those little details, whether it's chamfered around the edge, is it smooth, is it soft, is there a burr, how does it line up, all those little things. And man, just Quiet Carry just knocks it out of the park. So those are some of the reasons why I think that they are one of the best companies in 2023. Now, there's a long list. There's a long list of heavy hitters out there, companies that are just knocking them out of the park as well. So that's a huge competition. So to be, in my opinion, at the top of the pack, that says a lot, because like I said, there are so many amazing companies, and I'm specifically talking about production companies. And another thing I do love is they are out of Taiwan. I like that. I think that they do a really good job with their heat treatments. I've been, you know, happy with their work from a lot of different models that I have, and you know, that to me is important. You know, I do like to hear that, you know, it's from an allied country and things like that. So yeah, man, this, you know, Quiet Carry, shout out to Quiet Carry for doing just such an exceptional job this year and just the past few years. So they came out swinging. They really did. When they came out swinging. And I like that. I like that they were trying to be competitive from the start. From the start, they were doing the little details that people, the knife guys, wanted to see. And that is a huge thing, because not every knife company, you know, granted they make knives, so you kind of think that they're knife guys and stuff like that. But from what I've seen, there's a lot of knife companies out there that I question whether or not they're knife guys. And I'm not going to name any names, but you guys, I'm sure you guys can think of some too. So these guys, though, I never question that. I never question whether or not these guys are knife guys. It seems like they, man, even if they're not and they're just machine experts, perfect. I don't care, because what they're making is so exceptional. Now, you know, like I said, they've been, you know, hitting out of the park ever since they came out, and I've just gradually seen them morph and sharpen themselves into what they are now. And there's almost no other company that I am so excited about to see what's coming next. And Quiet Carry is definitely at the top of that list. Every time I hear something's coming out that's new or something like that, I'm all eyes, all ears. I'm ready to see it. I'm sure you guys know already, but they do have a Quiet Carry large waypoint coming. You know, not sure exactly when, but it shouldn't be too long. I did hear it's supposed to be by the end of the year or before the end of the year. So hopefully we see this happening very soon for a large waypoint, because I've been saying that since I got it. I've been saying, man, I want to see a large version of this. Now, I also said I'd like to see a large version on bearings, which it's probably going to be on washers, which is fine. I'm perfect. As long as they do it, I'm cool with it. But man, it'd be awesome on some bearings, right? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.